Yep.
Hey everybody, it's Peter from Brantford Kia. We are inside the 2020 Kia Soul EV Limited. I'm with my boss again, and it was nice of you to dress like me. Last time we did this, you were dressed a little nicer than me, and that might have helped our views. But today we're sort of dressed alike.
I like looking like a normal person.
There you go. So this is my boss. This is Pat Hart. He is our dealer principal, and we're going to talk about the EV Soul that we are in right now, which is brand new to us. And I think this is the first time you've driven it, right?
Yeah, this is the first time. This is a pretty incredible car.
Yeah.
Acceleration in sport mode was way better than I thought. Like.
Yeah,
it's almost like a sports car.
Well, it's got 201 horsepower in the EV Limited. Now, it's interesting because the EV Premium has 139 horsepower, somewhere in that range. 134 horsepower, there we go. But they have the same amount of torque in each car, so you're dealing with the same torque but different horsepower, and this one is by far our sportiest Kia Soul. Even compared to the old turbo models, I think this is certainly a faster accelerating car and feels very sporty. So we're going to talk a little bit about the car. We know that you EV buyers do your research and probably know a lot about the real nitty-gritty specifics. I will do a walk around of this car where we'll talk about some more things, so feel free to look for that on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to our channel because that'll be up soon. We just did a walk around of the Premium, which is that lower range Kia Soul. This one's not fully charged, but this one is rated for 383 kilometers of range, which is 2 less than the Kia Niro EV, but we're talking the same battery and same motor, so very similar range. What we're finding with our Niro buyers is that many of them are getting over 500 kilometers of range in this weather right now, so we expect less in the winter, but that 383 and 385 is basically the exact same when it comes to real-world use. So, Mr. Hart?
Man, I can't get over the acceleration on these electric cars. Like, yeah, this is really great. And the paddle shifters, you can adjust the regenerative braking.
So the paddle shifters, I think, are a huge deal that shows Kia's been doing their homework, because if you don't think of it too much until you start driving a lot of EVs, and of course you've driven Teslas,
yeah, I've
driven a number of EVs that are out there. What you gain from the paddle shifters that you sort of don't think about, in a lot of our cars, like our Sportage SX has them, and you don't really use them in that car. But with this car, what they do is they increase that regenerative braking, and if you're coming off the highway, a lot of time you want some higher regenerative braking, whereas if you're cruising in town, a lot of time you just want to coast a little bit more, and at the touch of a finger it allows you to switch.
Yeah, so I just took it from the top end of 3 where you can visibly, you're gonna basically come to a stop. I put it down to 0 and it's just coasting like a car.
Yeah, so it's, what I love is that ability to coast along without gas or without the throttle pedal really, and you coast and coast and coast, or you can have up to very, very heavy regenerative braking, which feels like your brakes are on. A lot of our EV buyers are telling us they almost never use the brake pedal with that 3rd level of regeneration for regular driving. It can slow you right down.
So the benefit of using regenerative braking, not only charging the battery, is I don't know if you'll ever go through brake pads.
That's the thing too. As long as you do your brake services, it definitely saves. So you've still got the in-wheel brakes, the same as you would with a gasoline car, but most of your braking, especially with the higher regeneration levels, are going to be set up to use the regenerative braking instead of your wheel brakes, and of course that saves your brake pads. And we've noticed that with hybrid buyers as well. They go through brake pads a little less. This is significantly more regenerative braking, and yeah, exactly, it will save your brake pads for sure. And it does increase your range, or it does work with you to increase your range as well. So, what do you think about overall drive of the car, forgetting the fact that it's electric? How do you feel about the 2020 Soul?
It's got tons of great technology. It's quiet. It has, like, not Tesla acceleration, but like for a small subcompact car, great acceleration. Yeah, okay, can you tell me something though?
I can, hopefully.
We know that we have 2 different battery options,
yes, between
the entry level and this one, the Limited. This one also adds a heat pump.
Yes.
What exactly is that? So
a lot of people ask about this in the winter. The EVs in general across not just Kia but every EV, they do lose some range in the winter, and that's just batteries in the cold weather, they lose some. So both of the Kia Soul and the Kia Niro EVs, they do have a battery warming technology in Canada, and that will reduce that amount of loss that you get of range. The difference with moving to this model over the premium version, so the Limited versus the premium, is that heat pump. And I asked about this earlier, and there's a complicated and a simple answer of what it does. The simple answer is, they said, think of it like a can. It's a can that holds heat, because the regenerative braking and the electric motors create heat that would otherwise go to waste. So what it does is it stores that heat into a can, and when you turn on the heat, it'll give you that as in addition to the electric heater. So of course an electric heater, think of it just like a little space heater in your car, in your home. It's going to use electricity. If you can store that hot air and throw it out through the vents, you're going to save range. And of course, how much range depends on the way you drive, how cold it is outside. But what it does is it gives you that hot air that is otherwise going to waste, and it sends it through the cabin. And in addition with this car, you've got heated seats, heated steering wheel, you've even got heated rear seats in the Premium, ventilated front seats. But that heat pump, what it does is in that cold weather, it gives you the heat that the car is creating anyways, and will help save you range.
Yeah, I think the fact that you've got heated and cooled seats in this trim, you probably don't need to use the climate control quite as much, which is going to give you additional range.
The other thing that all of our EVs do, and our Nero, which is a hybrid, whether it's a hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or EV, they also have a driver-only mode on the climate control. And what that does is it shuts down the vents in the passenger seat here, and once the car is up to temperature or down to temperature, you can put the vents just on the driver, which of course saves you a little bit of electricity as well, and any little bit you can save turns into driving range. So, but the real thing is, go ahead.
Have you heard of rear-wheel driving, what people are getting as far as range?
Yeah, so like I said, in the Nero is the car, I guess we should point out, we've sort of been a leader on Nero EVs. We sold more of them than anybody else in Canada before they'd even able to be shipped. We've sold a number of them before they were even priced.
Yeah, we didn't even know the price when we were selling them.
So we were selling,
which was a little scary for us and them.
Scary for you, not for me. I have nothing to do with that. But what we did is we became a leader in these, and we're still trying to be a leader. So we've got a number of them on the road, and we're keeping in touch with those owners. And like I said, real-world driving, we're seeing in this summery spring weather that we've had them out so far, over 500 kilometers is consistent with a number of our people. Certainly brushing up against that number for people who are driving more aggressively. And so real world in this battery, this motor combination, you should be able to see that in the warmer weather, and what that really does is, like I said in the previous video that you may have seen about our lower range Kia Soul, so the same car with lower range, that car to me is an ideal second car. It's rated for about 243 kilometers of range, 248 kilometers of range. This one bumps up to 383, which in real world driving could be significantly more in this kind of weather. This car becomes a legitimate replacement for a gasoline car. And what we're finding with our EV buyers is they're not charging them every night. The same way as you don't fill up with gas every night before you go home to get your 500 kilometers of gasoline range, our EV buyers are charging them once a week, a couple times a week, because they don't need to keep it fully charged.
So let's talk about charge time.
Yes.
And let's hit the highway while we're doing it.
Perfect.
I'm putting it in sport mode.
Sport mode it is. All right, so charge time. This one on your stage 2 charger, which is what you're really going to have in your house. That's what you're going to, majority of the time, you're going to charge the car on. You plug it in, just it feels like plugging in a gas pump, same idea. And you're going to get just around 9 hours of charge time to give you your full range. Now, the thing I always hear is, oh, 9 hours is a long time. But keep in mind, the only time it's going to take 9 hours is if you've fully depleted the battery. So most of our buyers, I mean, they're not driving 500 kilometers every day. It's a few hours of charge time to top it back up. But 9 hours or so, just over 9 hours, is going to bring you a full charge.
Basically, you're going to bed, you plug it in.
Exactly.
When you get up in the morning, it's fully charged.
And that's only, again, that only takes 9 hours if you've used all 500.
Like, we are cruising at 100 and
plus
something. And, like, totally smooth. We've got lane keep assist on.
Yes.
I've got my hands on the bottom of the steering wheel here, but I really, like, I can set the smart cruise control, and it's almost like autopilot.
Yeah, so the lane keep assist, what that does is keeps you centered in the lane. Now you can set it to just to keep you in the lane and allow you to have some control, but I've set it up before Pat started driving here to keep you basically centered in the lane. So the car is capable of steering itself to keep you centered in the lane. The smart cruise control can control the gas and the brake, and it's our smart cruise control with stop and go, which means if we hit stop and go traffic right now, Pat could set the cruise for 120 kilometers an hour, and if we hit stop and go traffic, it would stay right back, including to a stop, and accelerate back again from stopped. And I've driven home, I drove you to the airport one time and used smart cruise control with stop and go, and I set the cruise for 120 kilometers an hour in Toronto. We live a good hour plus from Toronto.
Right.
I hit some stop and go. I didn't touch the gas or brake all the way from the Toronto airport right to our exit here on the highway. And with the lane keeping assist, it also kept me centered in the lane. Super cool system for keeping you stress-free in your drive.
And I forgot that this is like a 20-kilometer stretch.
That's okay. We can kill this. We got lots of time to talk. We can fill it out. EV buyers want to see longer videos, so we're okay with that. And if we get bored, we'll cut it and chop it and we'll make it work.
Talk to me about the different modes.
Different drive modes. Okay, so the drive modes, we talked about that regenerative braking. So you've got, I think, let me just go through. There's Eco, Normal, Sport, and there's an Eco Plus button. So the Eco Plus is a really extreme drive mode. You're probably never going to use that. It's going to drop you right down to, right now it has a speed limit set of no more than 90 kilometers an hour. And really, if you were really short on range, that'd be a mode you could use. The rest of the time, you're never going to touch that mode.
I'm going back to Sport.
Yep. So Eco, Normal, Sport is the 3 drive modes that we have. Now, what that does is it changes the way the steering feels, the way the throttle reacts. It also changes your regenerative braking. And what I love is I can reach through this big 10.25-inch screen, and you can go to the settings here, which I'll show you right here. And in those settings, you can change those drive modes and even change the way they react. So if, let's say, you want Sport mode, but you still want heavy regenerative braking, you can set that up. If you want your Eco mode to have less regenerative braking, but still that same feel in the steering wheel and the pedal, you can do that as well. So there's a number of options to customize the drive modes to make it just the way you would want it. Of course, it comes set up from the factory to give Eco of a heavy regenerative braking. Sport steering, of course, is a firmer steering and that kind of thing. So lots of ways to control drive modes.
This is awesome.
You like this, don't you?
Yeah, I could drive this.
Yeah, this to me, so we took a bet on these cars. Let's talk about our dealership for a second.
Yes.
We kind of made a bet. So last year we were selling Kia Souls, the previous model, the 2019 model. They had 179 kilometers of range, and we had a massive government discount to sell those, and they made a lot of sense for a lot of people. And then they got rid of the government discounts. And I think, to be fair, you're a dealer principal. A lot of dealer principals got a little bit scared of selling EVs.
Yeah,
the government.
so, like, in order for us to be an EV dealer, they ship us $15,000 worth of equipment and take the money right out of our account. And then we also have to train all of our employees, which, you know, it's pretty costly. So you have to do some volume in EV or else you'll never get your money back. So there's a lot of guys that really just didn't think it made sense. And we're not in a huge market, so I wasn't sure, but...
So we made a bet on these basically in January, and we figured if we could do some videos, we had some traction, that we would say, you know, there's a number of people in the Greater Toronto, Brantford general area that will buy these cars if we give information and become trained on it. And I think we won on that bet. We sold a number in market, out of market.
So, I mean, our sales guys are non-commissioned, and one of the things we said to them is you have to understand the EV buyer, and the best way to do that is you got to know the product. Like, if people have questions about range and charge time and horsepower and everything, you need to be able to answer that. And so we worked with them, you worked with them, to teach them all about the product and why they're a great value, how it saves money on fuel, how it saves money on maintenance. And then right now we've got a little bit of a federal government discount, so I think it makes a lot of sense.
So we should point out as well that these cars are still very difficult to get. There is a bit of a wait time on the Nero. There's probably, at this point of filming right now, there's a little bit less wait time on the EV, but we can get them, and we're hoping to earn your business. So what we want you to do is, in the link below this description, or in the description below this video, there's a link to our sales team. You can click that button, that'll link right to our sales team. We are up to date on these things. We can talk to you about it. We found that other dealers haven't been as up to date, and we've been able to help some people out. Talk to us there to talk about availability, all kinds of things. That's the best place to reach us about these vehicles. But moving on, I think the reality is that one of the things that I've talked about in our previous videos with EVs is it used to be the EV buyer was looking just for a battery and an electric motor, and they were talking only about range. And what we're finding now is that EV buyers are becoming more advanced, and they're understanding that you still have to buy a vehicle like you would any other vehicle. You have to make sure you're buying a vehicle that you like. And I think the Nero and the Soul in that market are really competitive cars. The Soul already is one of Kia's top-selling vehicles, maybe of all time.
Yeah, it's one of our top volume vehicles.
So
for sure.
Turning that into an EV, you end up with a really practical car for everyday use. And because you've got the range now, this can become your only vehicle. We've had people buy these cars thinking it would be their second car, and they've gone down to one car, and it's been their primary vehicle because they have the range and they have all the luxury features to make it their primary car. And we should talk about some luxury features in the car. Just basic stuff, car stuff. We've got the 10.25-inch screen that I showed you before. We've got automatic climate control, so you just set it to whatever temperature you want. It brings it up or down as you want. Heated and ventilated seats, heated rear seats in this car, leather seating in this car. The premium model adds some extra piano trim. There's some leather seat trim around the top of the dash. It has a heads-up display, and the heads-up display is not just speed. It's got all kinds of information. You can fill it with information or keep it as simple as you want. So that's a new feature to the Kia Soul this year. We talked about the heated steering wheel, automatic headlights, that smart cruise control feature as well. You've also got some LED interior lighting in this car, so when you open the doors of this car at night, it's that nice bright white light, looks really rich. It's the same as the Stinger and the Telluride, so they're high-end looking lights in there. What else do we talk about? There was the
blind spot detection.
Blind spot detections and a number of
navigation. It's got a power sunroof.
Yeah, and then you also add the ambient lighting and the mood lighting, which is something the Kia Soul has had for a while. This is the electric vehicle with that, so the previous electric doesn't have that. It has sort of white panels in the doors. These ones have silver panels. They look opaque, but we'll show you some video or some pictures, still shots here, of how they can look lit up, and you can change the color. They can be multicolor. Looks really cool, as you can see here in the pictures. You can change it to almost any color you want, and you can pulse with your music, which is kind of cool.
This is also one of the few EVs that you don't give up cargo space for the batteries.
That's right. So the EV on this is, or the battery pack on this is underneath the car. Now you notice the Soul, the gasoline, and this one, the floor is slightly higher in this. If you're a real nerd like me, you know that. And that just gives a little bit of extra space for the batteries underneath the car, but you don't feel it from the passenger seat, and you have still underfloor storage out back. You have the 2020 Kia Soul has a cargo floor that raises and lowers. You still have all that space. So if you're looking at a gasoline 2020 Soul, the interior is almost identical. Like I said, there's a slight rise to the floor, but you won't notice that unless you're a nerd like me. Let's talk about some awards we won, because part of being a premium dealer trying to earn business, we won the Platinum Prestige Award.
We did.
So tell me about that, and I'll fill you in if you don't say the things that I want you to say.
It's a big deal for us.
It's a big deal.
We're really fortunate to have a wonderful sales and service team. So basically, Kia in Korea ranks every one of their dealerships and distributors globally, and it's based on, you know, things like sales versus target, customer satisfaction, facility, training, and profitability. And we're really fortunate to have good people and good process, as well as great product. And so, yeah, we're in the top 3% of the world,
which is a big deal. Top 3% Kia dealer in the world, and Brantford. You know, it's Wayne Gretzky and us in Brantford, pretty much.
Yeah, okay. So I'm sitting in my office yesterday, and this package comes from Germany, and it's in a weird box, and it looks kind of sketchy. And my daughter's home for the summer, and she's working for him, and she's like, "Dad, I don't know if you should open that. Like, that looks sketchy." And
do you have a lot of enemies? Is there something we should know about?
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm actually pretty nice. And so I open it, and then there's this red velvet box in there, and continuing the sketchy, but then you open it up, and it's this great trophy. So I've just been telling everybody I bought it for myself.
And the trophy says that we were the dealer of the year. So there you go, dealer of the year. So we had a pretty good year last year, which means probably this year we're in trouble.
Yeah, it's hard to do it twice.
But yeah, so we've just won a couple awards. Platinum Prestige Dealer places us top 3 percentile in the world. The Dealer of the Year is a Canadian award, so Dealer of the Year in Canada. We're pretty proud of that. I should talk about our sales team as well. Our sales team's been climbing up the customer service, and I think this is really where we lead with starting to win some of these awards. We've been climbing up in Canada. The last I checked, we were top 5, and I've seen us as high as top 3 in customer service scores for our sales team. So tell me about how that works and how you guide that.
Well, okay, so it all starts with how we compensate our team. So we pay them salary. They get performance bonuses based on, well, number one, how well customers rate them, and then, you know, based on volume and profitability. But the main focus of doing it that way is that I don't want them to worry about how much money they're making on the car. I want them to worry about what's the right car for the customer. And that way, you know, if they sell a car, they're going to make the same amount, whether or not it, you know, it's something that we make a lot of money on, or if it's a cheap car, it doesn't matter. And as long as they take care of the customer. And so because we put that incentive on, what we found is customers like the experience better. And so they give us higher scores, which looks good on us. And, you know, we're looking to build loyalty. We're looking to attract people out of our market by just giving them a very favorable experience. And so the recent thing that we added was you can do the majority of the purchase right on our website, including trade evaluation, adding any accessories or anything like that. So when you walk in, you just test drive and you already know your pricing and payments.
Yeah, so I'll jump on that for a second. So if you're on our website, and again, there is the link in our description, if you head to our inventory section, whether it's new or used, there's usually, and there should be on every car, a build your deal button. If you jump into that build your deal button, there's always a person behind that, but if you're someone like me who buys a lot of stuff online, you can go through the entire process. You can even leave a deposit, reserve that car for yourself for up to 24 hours. You can do everything, including trading in your vehicle, right from there. You don't have to come to our dealer to do that. There's always a person behind it, so we're always going to go over your deal. You're not agreeing to something that you're not sure of. You can add accessories, you can add warranties and protection plans after that. So we're trying to make it as comfortable as possible for you. We know not everybody. I went to a conference with Google the other day, and they told us about a lot of customers, and more so lately, millennials and everybody else, they're uncomfortable with the dealership experience. And I always, I'm not from a dealership background before I came here, and I always talk about, we never learn how to buy a car. You don't go to school for that. So you come in and you're uncomfortable because you don't know the process. The sales team knows the process and the dealership knows the process, but as a customer, you don't. So whether you want to come into our store or whether you want to start the process online, you can do that with us, and you can do it in a pressure-free environment with non-sales or non-commissioned sales team. And I think that's where we do really well, is we walk our customers through the deals, whether they want to start online, whether they want to do stuff through the process online, or deal with people the whole way. I think we're sort of set up to help you that way. There we go. Is there anything else you want to talk about this car?
I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think you have a Tesla right now. Don't we have Tesla in stock right now?
I like the electric product, so I thought I would try it, and I think this actually has more tech and more comfort features than the $100,000 Tesla.
So I used to review,
which isn't 100,000 anymore. It's 5 years old.
Yeah, exactly. I used to review cars for a living, and I drove a Tesla back when Teslas were new. And when I drove up the Tesla, I came in a Hyundai actually at that point, and the Hyundai had blind spot detection and that kind of thing. And I drove in the Tesla did not have those kind of things. So it was interesting because, again, Tesla has great marketing. We both are fans of Tesla. But what's interesting is now you're moving into that segment where this is a lower priced car with more features than what the Teslas used to have for 100 and 120,000. Do you have the acceleration of a Tesla? Absolutely. Do you? Absolutely not. Do you have the?
Actually, I gotta say,
it's close.
It is better than I expected. The acceleration is really good.
Yeah, you do have 295 foot-pounds of torque. It's instant torque. So we do feel, again, that no shifting.
People want to know about charging and how they would buy a charger for home.
Yeah, exactly. So what we used to do is use Bosch chargers with the car. Now there are a number of options you can do. Everything in Ontario, the 2017 and newer building code requires that you have a plug to plug them in. There's a number of options that we can use. It's a very simple process to put a stage 2 charger in your house. What we should talk about is stage 3 charging as well.
Okay.
If you, like we're going on a highway right now, I went up north to Muskoka for the weekend. You could do Muskoka and back from here on this tank of gas, or this tank of electricity.
Yeah, what do you call it?
What do you call it? Yeah, on the range available.
On the kilowatts available?
Exactly. But if you couldn't, there are a number of stage 3 chargers along the way. And this car, again, you've got, let's just call it 400 kilometers of real world range in this type of weather. Certainly we've seen people with more, but let's call it 400 or so kilometers of range. Once you drive 400 kilometers, that's about 4 hours of highway driving. You probably want to stop for an hour, take a lunch break. If you do that, about 60 minutes or so, just over 60 minutes, gives you an 80% charge. So you're doing another, say, 300 kilometers there. 700 kilometers a day is a long trip. I do that sometimes on my major camping trips, but other than that, I never do it. You can do that in this car with approximately a 1 hour stop. And then, of course, if you go to a hotel or wherever you go from there, you'll charge overnight again. And many hotels, or most towns, almost every hotel or every hotel area has a stage 2 charger.
In the nav system, it gives you all the locations, right?
Yeah, so the nav system is pretty good for locations. I usually talk to people about Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, using your apps in your phone, because a lot of the time the nav system is up to date right now with many of the chargers in the area. It doesn't have all the chargers in our area, but your phone, there's many apps you can use that will tell you where the charging stations are closer to where you are, and it'll be up to date. Because anything Android Auto and Apple CarPlay is great because those maps are constantly updated, just the same way your cell phone's updated. And those charge point apps, we're hearing from our customers is that depending on the brand of charger you prefer to use, those apps are always up to date, and it's a great way to find a charger. And people talk about running out of range. I think we should do a video with our other EV of running out of range. We'll try to run out of range one day. It's very difficult to do. This thing starts warning you and beeping at you and telling you, and you can use the nav system before you even go a couple hundred kilometers.
That makes me think of a great Seinfeld.
I know. Okay, but yeah, what you can do is this car, before you even head off in your navigation, it'll tell you if it has the available charge to make it that far. So you don't even have to go 300 kilometers and find out you're going to be 100 kilometers short. It'll give you some of that information in the nav system. It's a really good system. Range anxiety, once you actually own these cars, really doesn't exist for most people because they understand how the car is going to react and what it's going to do to help you get charged. And you tend to, you know, change your thinking a little bit with driving the long distances, but it's not usually an issue. Tell me about your Seinfeld.
Oh, in Seinfeld, it's, you know, they're going to buy a car, and Kramer takes the salesman on a test drive, and he wants to know how far he can drive the car without purchasing costly gasoline, and basically they run out of gas.
There you go.
That's it.
So I think we have our daily runner, our customer shuttle is a previous model Kia Soul. It has, again, rated for 179 kilometers of range. I think I may do a video of running out of range just so you see what happens, because it is very difficult to run out of range. It's impossible to run out accidentally. It will certainly warn you, and like I said, charging stations are all over the place, and quick charging stations are all over the place, much more than you would think they are. So we're almost back at the dealership. Is there anything else you want to cover?
We drove a lot.
We did. Put a lot of kilometers on the car. I think we tripled the kilometers on this car already.
Yeah.
If you're looking to buy an EV, what do they do? Again, we don't stock many of them. Currently, this car is in stock. We're not sure how long we'll keep it. We certainly know there's an interest and demand for this car. What do we do if we want to buy an EV? Obviously, reach out to us.
I think availability on Soul is going to improve. But, you know, worst case scenario, we do an order.
Yeah.
And we get you in the queue, and product is allocated based on sold orders first. So if you order one, give us a deposit, sign a bill, we send that to Kia, and the next available unit in the specs that you want gets allocated to us, which is for you.
And we have a great relationship with Kia. We're on the phone with them all the time talking about these cars because we've been selling them. So again, if you're concerned about the process, we're very familiar with it. We've done this a lot. And yeah, so there you go, everyone. Yeah, there we go. That is the 2020 Kia Soul EV Premium. We will do a walk around video of this vehicle soon, so if it's not on our YouTube channel, subscribe now, you'll see it soon. There is a walk around of the EV Premium 2020 Soul. We may have some drive videos of that in the future as well. If you have questions for us, let me know in the comments below, because even if you're not in our area, those questions help us deal with our customers, and we love to have them. And if you are anywhere in the area, we would love to be your EV dealer. We'd love to be your anything dealer, your Kia dealer for sure. Used car, new car, we can do that for you. So you can give us a call. Our phone number is 519-304-6542. Or, like I said, the link in the description below links you right to our sales team, and they can get in touch with you. So thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye.